No, I'm not gonna make that joke. I'm not gonna make that joke. I'm not going to make that joke. I'm gonna say that Instagram is going the way of the dinosaur, but I feel like we're gonna start finding its remains under the ground in the next 10 years. Hey friends, it's your good friend Tim Campbell Smith, and today we are talking about why artists should absolutely use Pinterest. I don't want to encourage artists to jump ship from Instagram to Pinterest. I think it can be a both and, but I definitely think there should be some priority given to Pinterest at this point. In today's video, we're going to talk about why should we use Pinterest, how would we use it, tips and tricks and considerations. Pinterest is where it's at. As a digital marketer, I've never liked telling people what I think they should do or what they need to do. I want to respect people's, and in this case, artists' ability to make decisions for their own marketing. Today I'm going to say I think artists should be on Pinterest for so many different reasons. People and artists often talk about Instagram, but then I also noticed, like, in my research that a lot of people are asking, is Pinterest useful for artists? And I'm here to scream yes. Before we go too far, make sure you like and subscribe for all things higher ed, business, photography, mental health, and, life. So a lot of folks talk about Instagram, but I want to say this, as a digital marketer, and especially in the last, starting from 2022, maybe even 2021, once we hit the peak of Reels and Reels started to decline, Instagram went the way of Facebook and has started going the way of Facebook in that it's been a pay-to-play game for businesses, which includes artists. It is harder to get discovered because their requirements and their specifications for being on the Explore page, for getting found, have changed to become more niche, more specific. Consumers are looking a little less for new accounts, and they're looking for them in new and different ways, which makes Instagram just harder to navigate and, frankly, to master. We also know with Instagram that hashtags don't work the same way and they don't work as well as they used to be, that it's more like keywords. All of this is slowly kind of causing a migration, and I kind of want to encourage you to kind of jump on the train a little bit faster to join Pinterest and to really rock out to a Pinterest. I'm always shocked and surprised when I meet, especially like larger artists or artist organizations that aren't on Pinterest, because it is, I don't want to say designed for artists, but oh my gosh, is this like an excellent breeding and hunting ground for artists. Let's start here. Art serves a core function, not only and works well, not just for Pinterest, but for Pinterest users and the kind of people who go to Pinterest. Art is enjoyable to look at. It's an aesthetic unto itself. Aesthetic being a very popular keyword and has been as long as I've been a digital marketer. Pinterest provides ideas for other forms of art, so people are more likely to save art as an idea for later, both artists and non-artists alike. It links to other places so you can get further ideas or to go to websites. And what I love about art is that you can play to other categories. So when I do a food photograph, I can be found for photography and for food. If I do a painting of Toronto cityscape, I can be found for paintings and found for Toronto. And this is because people are often looking for things like Toronto or paintings or photographs. So it just plays in really well there. Speaking of people on Pinterest, statistically speaking, Pinterest users have the highest income out of any social media platform. Maybe comparable only to LinkedIn, but LinkedIn, the statistics kind of skew because a lot of Fortune 500 CEOs are on LinkedIn, but Pinterest users make money. They spend money. They actually buy more than any other social media platform. So, like, they're there and they have money and they're willing to buy things. Another reason why I love Pinterest and recommend Pinterest, especially for artists, Pinterest content, and we're going to talk a lot about content. Pinterest content is the gift that keeps on giving. Something we look at in content marketing is what we call the half-life of posts. Basically, how long does it take for a post to die, to fade into oblivion, never to be found again? That halfway point is what we call the half-life. Pinterest has a really long half-life on their content. And if people keep searching for it and keep getting it, and it keeps getting discovered, it kind of refreshes its discoverability. For example, I post on my Pinterest, I post at the same consistency on Pinterest as I do Instagram. Actually, a little bit less, because on Instagram, I'm usually doing 5 to 7 stories a day, 1 post per day. On Pinterest, I do on average 2 to 3. If I'm really, if I've got a lot of content, maybe 4, but 2 to 3 posts a day on Pinterest. I get way more reach, I get way more engagement through my Pinterest because it keeps getting discovered. And as phases and trends come, it increases and re-increases its discoverability. So now, because I've been consistent, and more on consistency and how that actually works on Pinterest. But because I'm more consistent and I've been consistent for so long on Pinterest, I have a reach and engagement on my Pinterest that is unparalleled on any of my other social media platforms. The big thing being, and typically on Pinterest, you just need like one big break and one really good pin to start to skyrocket your account. But if there's an uptick in searches for and saves and shares of your content, it just kind of resets the clock on your discoverability and increases it again. Another reason why we love Pinterest is because Pinterest loves links. We've heard, actually, recently at the time of recording, Elon Musk and Twitter, or X, sorry, recently came out and said that they don't love links on tweets. So it may decrease your reach. We also know this happens on Facebook. Instagram doesn't even allow links in their posts, the newsfeed posts. Pinterest loves links. You can drive money and traffic, to your moneymaker and to external sources. What other social media platform actively rewards links? Pinterest. Another appeal with Pinterest is its global appeal. Now, this is a double-edged sword. I do want to say this. Pinterest doesn't really have a local appeal. It's very, very, very difficult to have a local appeal. Running ads, the specific geo-targeting isn't as robust as maybe Meta or Google, definitely not as robust as Google. And so it's harder to have that local appeal. It's easier to have a global appeal. But if you want a global appeal, if you want your art to be found around the world, if you want to sell your art throughout the world or have exhibitions or shows throughout the world, Pinterest can help facilitate that. Okay, so I think I've beat this horse over the head about why it's such a great idea to use Pinterest. Let me walk you through what I actually do and how to actually get your art noticed on Pinterest. First things first, stick with it for a while. If you're gonna start or if you're gonna revamp or whatever, you gotta stick with it for a while. One, and something I have come to discover, is that Pinterest is a content machine that just eats up content and wants more content, almost like Twitter. You can end up in a dark, deep Twitter vacuum. Pinterest is actually secretly kind of the same. I did it for just under a year before I really got results. The other thing I've noticed whenever I've talked to influencers or listened to influencers, Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube for the most part, all of them said that to grow their following, it took time. So you gotta give yourself time and stick with it. Next, I want you to figure out what keywords you want to be found for. You kind of gotta approach it like SEO or search engine optimization. Figure out what people are searching for and put that. And where are you gonna put it? You're gonna put it in the title of your pin. You're gonna put it in the description. If you're doing idea pins, you can add categories. For content topics, you can put it in there, and brownie points if you write the alt text for your pin, that it can show up in there as well. How do you figure out what's trending? Well, one, Pinterest within their own platform on both mobile and desktop has an area. You have to have a business account for this, but in their analytics, they have a trending section, so you can see what's trending in your country or around the world. So you can use that. You can then go just across the internet, so you can look at Google Trends. You can look at what's going on in the news, and really though the idea here is to integrate what people are searching for and what popular keywords are and put that into your content. Next, have a bunch of boards. Use descriptions on boards. And if you can get your name onto a board description, that will help increase your discoverability. And have boards just for your art, where you're not pinning anyone else's, anything else, just your art on that board. Then let's talk about actual posting. Post a lot. Some influencers and creative agencies, and even I think Tailwind, which is a partner with Pinterest, and they do, Pinterest pin scheduling. They've even said pinning up to 8 times a day is really beneficial. That's a lot. I think that's kind of nuts, but it is what it is. Post. Post a lot. Post frequently. But post at a frequency that you can maintain. With this as well, I want to give you this tip. Pinterest has even come out and said this, that you can reuse content over and over, up to around 6 or 7 times. So, you do one pin, don't delete it. Don't delete that content. Post it, do a whole new original post, pin, a couple months later. Put it on a different board. Use it again. Prioritize your own pins as well. Repinning other people's content does nothing for your following, doesn't increase your discoverability that we know of. It's only good for them. So prioritize your own pins first. That said, I will also say I found great results just from posting and pinning 2 to 3 times a day, 2 to 3 original pins. That's it. That's the secret to Pinterest. Remember, Pinterest, I think because it's a smaller platform, businesses, quite frankly, haven't ruined it the way they have like Instagram or Facebook. There's just so much more potential and opportunity. Pinterest also gives you the tools to succeed. Like, I think you spend about more than $50 in ads, which is definitely a way to get your art discovered. You can get a dedicated account specialist who will just teach you about Pinterest and how to do better on Pinterest, which is where a lot of like this wisdom came from. I also found my own success from only pinning 2 to 3 times a day. That is less effort than Instagram, and arguably for most people, most businesses, less effort than, say, a Twitter account. If you have any questions about Pinterest, definitely feel free to put them in the comments below. It's funny because I'm here as both a digital marketer, but also as a photographer who has really been using Pinterest to talk about like things like mental health, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and justice, and frankly, getting my art found. As always, make sure you like and subscribe for all things business, higher ed, mental health, photography, and life. Otherwise, we'll chat soon. Bye for now.